What is going on, everyone? The Philadelphia Phillies, they did what they had to do. They had to win a baseball game today. They shut out the Detroit Tigers 4-0. We swept the Tigers in that 2-game series, which was mandatory. You go back to the last game of the Pirates series, we are on a 3-game win streak. And on top of that, we are 6 games over 500. Who would have thought? Now, this game, it was funky to begin with. No Bryce Harper in the lineup, which I'm totally okay with. Let's rest him. Let him rest today. Let him rest tomorrow. And then he has a nice little couple days to relax before heading into that big-time Braves series. So I'm totally okay with Bryce Harper sitting. This is the type of game where you accept that. He's played so much baseball. He's not going to sit a lot. So when you get a chance to beat down on a bad Tigers team, do that and allow Bryce Harper to gain some rest in that situation. The lineup was funky to begin with. JT Realmuto is playing first base. He played 15 innings yesterday in a really long game that goes to extras. He responds today with playing first base because he didn't want to DH. So the lineup read like this: Cesar Hernandez, Scott Kingery, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, Adam Hazley, Maikel Franco, Williams, Knapp, and Quinn. Now, if you've listened to this post-game show that I do after each game for quite some time, you would know that I am not a big fan of a crap, brutal lineup at the bottom. And that's what we had today with Nick Williams, Knapp, and Roman Quinn. But it's funny because Nick Williams hit a home run in this game and Roman Quinn had 2 hits. So they were productive. Keep in mind, this Tigers team is embarrassing and it is extremely brutal. But still, the bottom of the lineup, there are 3 hits for those guys I would have never imagined. And of course, Andrew Knapp, of all people, goes 0 for 3. So, classic Andrew Knapp there. Let's talk about Vin Velasquez today. He goes 5 2/3, 9 Ks, no runs allowed, of course. Vin Velasquez, I'll tell you what, he can really bring it, but he can never go through 6 innings. It's unbelievable. 9 strikeouts was amazing. 16 swinging strikes, 10 of those on that fastball he's got going up in the zone. Awesome day for Vin Velasquez, even though he doesn't give you the stretch of decent amount of innings, right? I mean, 5 2/3, that's no 6-7 innings, but he brought it in that 5 2/3. His pitch count was a little high for him to keep going, but that's what Vin Velasquez is. Why would we expect anything different right now when you compare it to everything he has done so far in his career? Ranger Suarez comes in for 1 1/3. I'll tell you what, Ranger Suarez has been something. Ranger Suarez has been something to spark the bullpen up a little bit. I would have never expected. I would have never expected him to be able to provide us something, some sort of jam, but Ranger Suarez has been able to do so. Adam Morgan came in, Hector Neris came in, and he had 3 strikeouts in his outing. Once again, keep in mind, the Detroit Tigers lineup is bad. Their entire team is bad. But still, it's nice to see. Zimmerman struggled on the other end. He went 4 1/3, allowed 8 hits, 4 earned runs. Their top of the lineup was bad today. Their top of the lineup, their first 3 hitters went 0 for 4. How do you win baseball games when the top of your lineup is going 0 for 4? How about it? So let's talk about how this game played out. In the top of the 4th, JT Realmuto hits a home run, baby. We need him to get going. We need him to get going and spark this team. We're up on the board, and it's 1-0 Philadelphia Phillies. Top of the 5th, Nick Williams. He hits a solo shot of his own. We're talking 2-0. And in the 5th, Cesar doubles, which knocks in Roman Quinn, who was all over the base paths, being a little pest that he is with that speed. Hoskins gets an RBI knock, 4-0. And keep in mind here, I just mentioned two guys that I've been talking about who needed to pick it up. I've mentioned those 2 players in the scoring summary. That is JT Realmuto, who needs to figure it out, and Rhys Hoskins. Both of those players have to be effective. Both of those players need to be difference makers on this team because we need them to produce. Those are the type of players that have to execute so this team can find ways to score runs, so this team can find ways to actually win baseball games against good teams. Keep in mind, we're on a 3-game win streak, right? And in those 3 games, we have Drew Smyly pitched a good outing, Aaron Nola pitched a good outing, and Nick Pivetta pitched a good outing. Well, think about it. It's almost like if you have your starting pitchers pitch good outings, you might actually have a chance to succeed. Who would have thought, everyone? Who would have thought? I'm happy. The 6-game over 500 thing, that's great. But we have a big test this weekend. And I will have a video tomorrow during the off day about what we need to do about this Brave series, about the pitching matchups in the series. I'll have that tomorrow, so I don't want to get too involved in that right now in this video. But it was nice to win 3 games in a row, but let's be real now. You know, the Pittsburgh Pirates are no threat, and definitely not the Detroit Tigers. One thing that's nice, though, this ballpark is hard to hit dingers in, right? There's no denying that. We've seen it. It's a tough ballpark. And today you got J.D. Realmuto, and you got Nick Williams hitting the long ball. So you saw the long ball going. It's hard to value this series because, let's be real, you're essentially playing the worst team in baseball. Really. But it's still nice than losing because that's what could have happened. You could have lost. But you can't put too much stake into it, right? Wait till you see what happens against the Braves to really figure out where this team is right now. But we haven't been 6 games over 500 in forever. So take that for what it is. We're putting together a stretch, 3 wins in a row. I mean, come on. I feel like I haven't seen that since, I don't know, I almost said September. Since March, April. Cesar Hernandez goes 2 for 5 in the leadoff spot. Scott Kingery not leading off, but he goes 1 for 4. Rhys, 2 hits. I'm telling you, 2 hits for Rhys Hoskins. We need this guy to get going. We need him to really get into a roll. He hit that homer in Pittsburgh. He stepped up throughout these 2 games here against the Tigers. We need him to be a player. We need him to start smoking the baseball. That's how this team is going to be successful moving forward. Adam Hazley, 0 for 3. You know, he's having a tough time adjusting. It makes sense, though. Realistically, he's not like an everyday guy, but I'm okay with throwing him into the fire and letting him learn. You get more value out of that than letting him play every 4 games. Like, you won't get into a rhythm. You won't see pitches. You won't adjust. You won't find a way to learn if you're getting thrown in every 4 days or so. So I'm okay with him getting minutes right now and consistently playing. There's times where I see a good product from him. There's times where I see a nice swing, but we can't lie. We can't lie. There's some growing pains involved, and that's realistic, right? I mean, that's realistic. That's where he is in his progress. But Andrew Knapp goes over 3, like I said, and Roman Quinn, hey, he's starting to swing the bat, dude. He's starting to swing the bat. We saw the 2-run bomb, and now we see 2 hits today. So you got to look at Roman Quinn and say, all right, he's finding a little rhythm. He's finding a little swagger right now, and hopefully someday he's sitting above 150. But his speed is lethal. There's no denying that. There is value in that man's speed, and he can be effective in certain situations. And here we have it. Here we have it. We can't talk about it enough how important the next series is. This was all great and dandy. I'm happy we won baseball games, but we're beating up on bad teams. I wouldn't even say beating up. We're winning games. This was a walk in the park, though. Today was a walk in the park. You just go through the motions, you beat up on the team that's really poor, and you move on to the next one. You know, it's nice to see some guys step up, but to make it real, you know, Roman Quinn has to come up with a 2-run bomb against the Braves. And like I said, I hate getting to looking forward here because I want to do that in a video tomorrow, but you know, it's hard not to look into the future after beating up on some bad baseball teams. But that was the job. That was the job. You had a job to do. Take them down. You split with the Dodgers in an impressive series, in my opinion. You take 2 or 3 against Pittsburgh. You take 2 against the Tigers in a 2-game series. And it's time to move forward. You can't control where you play. Just go out there and perform. So for that, okay, I'll give you the nod, and let's move forward here. It's funny, though, to not see Bryce Harper in the lineup. Really? Where's Bryce? I love everything about Bryce Harper. And I love the contract, and sometimes I think about the fact that he's going to be here for 13 years. He's legitimately going to have an unreal career here in Philadelphia, and it makes me so fired up. Like, I absolutely love the fact that Bryce Harper is here. He's got so much swag in the game of baseball. He's a big-time name, and to see him not out there, it's almost weird. It really is, but I respect the decision. The decision makes a lot of sense. So with that being said, I want to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.